So I'm going to show you guys how I actually track all of my revenue versus my fees and expenses so that I can see how much profit I'm actually making and what profit margin I'm making. Because you don't want to be upside down in your crafting business if you're trying to make money off of your crafting business. So this is how I track that. So I make a spreadsheet. This one is in the Apple spreadsheets, but you could do it in Excel or in Google Sheets or wherever you make spreadsheets, as long as you can make formulas. So the way I set up my table is by month revenue, and that's gross revenue before any fees are taken out. I sell on Etsy only, so I subtract my Etsy fees and taxes, my supplies, my shipping, which then is a formula to calculate my total profit, which then calculates my profit margin. So let's do an example. So I said I made $500 in revenue in September, which then I ended up getting charged $10 in fees and taxes from Etsy. My supplies, I only spent about 20 bucks, and then shipping, I did about $30 worth of shipping, which then gave me a total profit of $440, a profit margin of 8. So once we get all of our columns filled in, I have a formula that calculates my total profit. And that is my gross revenue minus all of my fees. So my Etsy fees, my supplies, and my shipping. And that gives me my total profit. And then your profit margin, and this is what you want to see. You want to have a high profit margin because that means that you are not spending more than you're making. And I calculate that by dividing my total profit that I got from that first formula by my gross revenue that I entered first. And that gives me my profit margin. So let's do another example here. This is if I went upside down. So let's say I made $400 in October and I spent all of this money in fees and shipping and all of that. So I actually made a negative profit. I spent $5 more than I actually made, which gives me a negative profit margin. And then let's say I rebounded in November and did $1,000 and I kept my expenses pretty low. So I had another high profit margin. So I filled in a bunch of examples here so we can actually see what that looks like. So I'm going to talk about the total bar. So what this is this is a sum of every single column to show me within a given time frame how much I've actually made, how much I've spent, how much my actual total profit has been in that time frame, and then what my total profit margin has been. And so we're going to look here at the graphs too. So this is just set up from the spreadsheet app. You can do this again in Excel or Apple Spreadsheets, anywhere you just say add graph, and then it allows you to select the data, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is tracking the revenue that I've made. So you can see this has not been consistent. You would not really want to see something like this. You would want to see more of a linear growth. And then this is my yellow is all of my revenue. And then this is in comparison to how much I've been spending. So I want to see that yellow chunk be nice and big. In the next part, I'll actually show you guys how to make these charts so that you can play around and see what you like to do, because I'm running out of time. But this is just an example of that spreadsheet. So now, using the data that we put into our table, we're going to make a new chart. So we'll try a bar chart for this one, since we already have a line graph and a pie chart. So in Apple Spreadsheets and Excel, it's really similar. You'll just have to say like create or add chart or something like that. So in this case, we're going to select the bar chart and it'll say tap to add data. So we tap that, we scroll back up to our spreadsheet, and we're just going to, for this one, track our revenue. So we're going to say I want to track revenue. And so we select the ones we want to track, which is the months we filled in. And that creates our graph. So that will show us every single month how we've done. It's just a different representation of what we have above here. But let's actually do one for profit margin. So I just deleted that firmer one. So add data, and then we're going to come up here for profit margin. And we're going to select all of these. And that's what it shows us. And you can see that one month that we did a negative, it actually goes below the 0 mark. So this is a really good way to show how you're doing.